Do you know what the most terrifying viruses in the world are? Let's start with the virus that ranks 6th. Its mortality rate is 75%. It includes nearly 20 different types of viruses. Among them is an unnamed virus. Humanity still hasn't fully understood it. It is the hantavirus. It was discovered quite late. The first case was confirmed only in 2021. Early symptoms include fever, headache, and so on. In the later stages, it can quickly progress to bleeding and severe symptoms of acute respiratory failure until death. But there is one good thing about it. After recovery, one is completely healed. There are no lingering side effects. They are just like an ordinary person. However, its sufficiently high mortality rate is still chilling. The virus that ranks 5th is dengue fever. Its vectors are the Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus mosquitoes. The infection rate of this virus is very high around the world, especially in tropical and subtropical regions. Every year, there are humans infected, and the number can exceed 100 million. Its symptoms initially appear to be a cold, but after a few days, one will find themselves covered in rashes, until organ failure, approaching the end of life. Although countries have researched this for many years, vaccines have been developed, but no virus should be taken lightly. Therefore, we still need to take precautions. In fact, it's not just this one virus. For any disease with potential infectiousness, we should all remain vigilant to eliminate the possibility of infection as much as possible. Do you know what the most terrifying viruses in the world are? What are they? The fearsome rabies. Surprisingly, it ranks only 4th. Its fatality rate reaches 100%. Although people often joke about the rabies virus, but the real rabies virus is indeed very terrifying. When dying, a person seems completely out of control, acting like a mad dog. Besides rolling around crazily, it will also bite at things. Some even describe it as being possessed by a demon. So everyone should take it seriously. Once scratched by a cat or dog, it's best to get the rabies vaccine as soon as possible. The third virus on the list is the smallpox virus that we have heard about many times. It once caused the deaths of a staggering 500 million people in just 300 years. Unlike other viruses, which spread among all primates, smallpox only harms humans. This means that this virus can only parasitize within the human body. After being infected with smallpox, the most obvious symptom is the appearance of papules, which are what people refer to as red spots. And the reason it can cause a large number of human deaths is, the most important reason is the means of transmission. It spreads through air and droplets. These 2 points can be said to be closely related to our lives. A moment's inattention can lead to infection. Moreover, death can occur within as little as 3 days after infection. At most, it won't last more than 5 days. If one is fortunate enough to survive, they will be left with a face full of pockmarks. Fortunately, this virus was completely eradicated in 1980. It has been completely eliminated by us. Ranking the most terrifying viruses in the world, the second place goes to the HIV virus. Regarding the terrifying HIV virus, humanity has yet to find an effective treatment. We can only use existing medical technology to suppress the replication of the virus and help patients maintain their immune function as much as possible. So even with timely treatment, it is merely a slow death. Its early symptoms may not be obvious. They mostly include common symptoms like fever, nausea, vomiting, and rashes. If it reaches the later stages, it can evolve into tumors and other serious illnesses. The survival time of AIDS patients is determined by the length of the virus's incubation period. A long incubation period means a person could live for several years. If the incubation period is short, one might completely lose their life in 1 or 2 months. However, when it comes to the death toll, it is far inferior to that of smallpox. Lastly, is the Ebola virus, which ranks 1st in terms of horror. In 1976, an unnamed virus broke out in the Ebola River region. In just one night, all the villagers in 55 riverside villages perished. After that, throughout the entire Ebola region, the virus spread rapidly, and the number of people who ultimately died reached over 10,000. Every infected person would exhibit multiple symptoms, including diarrhea, body aches, nausea, and vomiting. There can even be internal and external bleeding, as well as changes in skin color and other conditions. The direct causes of death, often due to shock after low blood volume or organ failure, myocardial infarction, etc. Its highest mortality rate has reached a terrifying 90% or more. Often, the speed of treatment cannot keep up with the speed of death. It is also for this reason. It has become the virus that humans least want to be infected with. There is no exception.